So, just for a second, put yourself in the driver's seat. You've got an EV. What's the number one thing you're worried about on a long road trip? It's not how fast you're going, right? Or how quiet the ride is. It's that nagging fear. What if I run out of juice and get stranded?
And yeah, that fear actually has a name. It's called range anxiety. And this, right here, is the biggest mental hurdle stopping millions of people from going electric. It's that little voice in your head constantly asking, am I going to make it to the next charging station?
Now, you have to remember, we're talking about India, a massive country with these really long stretches of highway between cities. So this isn't some small problem. It's the roadblock.
Look, if India is really going to have an all-electric future, this fear has to go away. It just has to. And the current setup, these random unmanned chargers that might or might not work, it's just not going to cut it. People need to feel confident. And that is exactly where Tata comes into the picture.
So what is their plan? Well, it's a lot more than just sticking more chargers in the ground. They're basically rethinking the entire charging experience from scratch.
What they want to do is make charging your EV feel exactly as normal and boringly reliable as pulling into a gas station. You just imagine pulling into this bright, well-lit place. There's staff there to help you out 24/7. That's the whole idea behind these new mega charger hubs. And if you look at the features, you'll see they're tackling every single little frustration people have. You've got staff there, so you're not wrestling with a broken machine by yourself. They're on major highways, which is exactly where you need them for long trips. And the payment? Simple. Cash, card, UPI, none of this. You have to download our special app nonsense. It's just designed to be easy for absolutely everyone.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty good, right? But a handful of nice charging stations isn't going to change a whole country. The real story here, the thing that makes you go wow, is the sheer scale of what they're planning. The numbers, that's where this gets absolutely wild.
Okay, so let's start with where they are right now. Tata's already got over 25,000 public chargers out there. Now, most of these are for their commercial EVs, but still, that's a pretty solid starting point.
But here's where it gets interesting. Over the next year, just 12 months, they're going to add another 25,000 chargers. I mean, think about that. They're doubling their entire network in 1 year. The speed is just incredible.
And even that is just one step. The really big long-term goal, 400,000 charging points by 2027. Just let that number sink in for a second. This isn't some small side project. This is a plan to completely overhaul the country's infrastructure.
So you gotta ask, why? Why this huge, incredibly expensive push? The numbers are staggering, but they're all part of a much bigger strategy. A grand vision that's about way more than just plugging in cars.
See, this whole thing is as much about psychology as it is about hardware. Every single new charger, every one of those staffed stations, it's a message. It's a signal to everybody that, hey, the EV system works, it's safe, it's reliable. They're not just selling power. What they're really selling is confidence.
And this really breaks it down, doesn't it? You have the problem right now, dodgy chargers, confusing apps, and that constant worry. And then you have Tata's vision for the solution. Professional stations, super easy payments, and just peace of mind, knowing that you can get where you need to go.
Now, obviously, a project on this scale, there's no way you can do it by yourself. So a huge part of this strategy isn't just building stuff, it's partnering up. They're creating a whole ecosystem to make this happen way faster than any one company could.
And just look at who they're teaming up with. They've got their own sister company, Tata Power, handling the tech. Then they're partnering with giants like HPCL and Shell, which is so smart, because they can just use existing gas station locations. And on top of that, they've got deals with more than a dozen other charging companies to just build.
And here's a really key point. Even though Tata is building all this, they're not making it a walled garden. A lot of these new fast chargers are going to be open to every EV brand, not just Tata's. This is a rising tide lifts all boats kind of move. It makes the whole EV scene in India better for everyone.
But of course, a plan this huge, this ambitious, it's not going to be easy. There are definitely some major bumps in the road. This is absolutely a high-risk, high-reward kind of play.
So we have to ask, the tough question. Is this actually going to work? To pull this off, they have to get past some really big hurdles, both with money and just the logistics of it all.
All right, let's break down the risks. First up, cost. I mean, staffing stations 24/7 is way more expensive than just putting a charger in the ground. Second, will they make money? You need a lot of people using these stations all the time for them to be profitable.
Then there's the power grid itself. These new ultra-fast chargers suck up a ton of electricity. And finally, you have that classic chicken and egg problem. People have to buy EVs fast enough to actually use all this new infrastructure.
And all of this, it brings us to the final and most important question at the very heart of this whole thing.
When you really boil it all down, here's what's happening. Tata is making a huge bet. They are building the solution before the problem is even at its peak. They're building this massive infrastructure for an all-electric India before everyone has an EV, betting that if they build it, people will buy the cars.
And that leaves us with the big one. Is Tata building India's electric future, or are they building a multi-billion-dollar field of dreams that's just way too early? The answer, whatever it is going to shape how over 1 billion people get around for decades to come.